Good evening. This is Daniel Howe with Tyler Ashlock. We're going to apologize right away if our voices go in and out because we're playing around with new equipment. Tyler, what matches do we have today?
Well, today we have Metalfoe Ancient Gears playing against Mecha Phantom Beasts. So we got Battle of the Bots today, two decks that normally that aren't seen very often at all. Mecha Phantom Beasts had a little splash for a little bit when it first came out. Ancient Gears are as ancient as they sound. They're about to have some new support though in a little while, but right now we're playing without that. So it looks like we're getting started right now.
Tyler, with the new Ancient Gear support, do you feel like it might be another viable deck here coming up?
Uh, be the no play that it gets at this point.
Well, maybe these guys can come up with some new stuff.
I mean, it's possible. There's a lot of cards out there. We get TCG exclusives all the time, so no telling what could come out to make this deck a playable option. I mean, machines are always a strong deck with all the different things that they've printed for those. So let's find out who's going first in this game. Whomever it is, it seems that they are definitely having to make a decision.
Yeah, it doesn't look like maybe it's a hand that they wanted to keep.
Well, it looks like we got Ancient Gears going first. He starts out with a Metal Foe. Now, the cool thing about the Metalfoes in this deck is that it actually supports Ancient Gears quite a bit. It allows them to pop the Gear Town to be able to special summon an Ancient Gear from hand, deck, or grave. And it also lets them Pendulum summon monsters they normally wouldn't. Because the guy that we just summoned, the Ancient Gear Knight, is actually his only Ancient Gear that he can normal summon.
Tyler, now what would you pick if you were trying to special summon or pendulum summon in this case?
Well, if you had a Gear Town, if you had a Gear Town to do, the guy he's going to be going for most of the time is going to be his Ancient Gear Gajiltron Dragon. It's a level 8 with 3,000 attack that if it attacks, they can't do anything to his attack. So no Mirror Force or anything like that coming at him.
Ah,
It looks like he had a pretty weak start though. 3 back row. He has a number of good back rows in his deck that we see. He could have a Solemn down there or anything else. He definitely set a Metalfoe. I believe he set the Continuous Trap. So that one actually makes it where with his scale he already has, he can set up a scale next turn. And he doesn't really have much to pendulum summon right now, but setting up a scale is always good, having a 1 and an 8. Interesting dark hole to start off with.
now that seems like that dark hole might not have been worth it just yet.
Not really, especially with the counter, because now he's able to bring out his level 7 Metalfoe, the biggest one in the deck. So he actually upgraded to a monster that when he completes his scale, he's going to be able to actually have something worth pendulum summoning. It definitely seems like Mecha Phantom Beast may have had a very weak start here. Oh, that's actually a really good guy right there. This guy was actually used for a little bit in Dragon Ruler format as a card to actually generate some advantage and get his level up to level 7. Normally his effect didn't come up too much. Let's see here. And he can actually attack over things, it looks like, but he opted not to. He is a very trap-heavy deck, so we're going to see him be a little bit more passive than the Ancient Gears are, because the Ancient Gear strategy is more monster-heavy than what the Mecha Phantom Beast is. So we have the Gear Town. That is huge. That is a big chunk of his strategy. So I'm glad that he's seeing a lot of his Ancient Gears in this game, because I've heard that he's had some games that he didn't draw them, which, I mean, those are winnable. Pendulums are good. But featuring a lot of these Ancient Gears in the deck can be really cool.
Now, to classify as ancient gears for this tournament, how many cards did he have to have?
Normally, my acceptance was about 9. His strategy did have a total of 11 cards that were specific to the Ancient Gear strategy. So he was above that. And then bonus on top of that is that a lot of his winning comes from that. He actually has a smaller Metalfoe engine than what a normal Metalfoe hybrid would even have. Normally you see almost 3 of every single one. He's only playing a total of 8 different Metalfoe monsters. So that's actually a pretty small lineup. So he was building this deck with full intent of doing an Ancient Gear strategy focus.
Well, maybe we'll just see some new tech come out of this.
Definitely some cool stuff. Bouncing the Gajiltron Dragon back to the hand is a big thing too. He does have to kill the token first because the Mecha Phantom Beast can't die by battle while he controls the token. Oh, there's his Spiritual Wind Art. So he gets to actually select his Metalfoe and put it on top of the deck. Only downside of that is he has the scale 7 put on top of the deck, so he does complete the scale when he draws a card. But his only monster that he has otherwise is a level 8, so he can't summon that. So far, the majority of his back row, he has the combination that he set, and he has 2 unknowns. The combination is a good card. It will actually set up him to have a Pendulum Summon of 1 monster after he sets up the scale, because he'll get to search. But other than that, he's going to be stuck on 1 monster at a time for right now.
While that does seem slow in a traditional format, how does it seem to be compared to this tournament?
Well, in a traditional situation, only having 1 monster at a time is really slow and isn't going to do much. But in this, it's very possible that the 1 monster at a time can grind out the situation and make it where he's going to just generate card advantage and eventually take the lead. Now, these Mecha Phantom Beasts, though, since they once they have a token, can't die by battle, that 1 card advantage isn't really much of an advantage. And now he's actually in a position where his guy attacked, he got a token, and he has 2 level 7s on the board. He's able to make his rank 7 the star of the show, Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac. Traditionally played in other rank 7 strategies, this is actually his deck, his strategy, his deck that he was meant to play in. So we could actually see him come out and start popping some stuff, including that scale, so he can't complete the scale. But we don't. So he probably has some back row that is going to show off Mecha Phantom Beast with his one that he recently set.
And Phantom Beast knocked for the dome, and he seems to pretty much just have passed turn.
Yeah. It is a very interesting situation. Again, the Mecha Phantom Beast strategy isn't entirely going into the extra deck. His strategy is to grind out, use his traps, and have a lot of dudes that aren't dying. That is what he wants to be in the position of. So even if he completes a scale right, oh, interesting. He might not have any targets left for his Metalfoes. Because normally that's a pop the combination, because when it dies, he gets to add a Metalfoe monster from his deck to his hand.
Tyler, at this point, would you just probably scoop?
I don't think so. The situation we're in right now, um, there's really not a lot of information you're hiding by scooping at this point. You only see 2,900 on the board. I'd give it one more turn. I would see what I draw one more time, because having a complete scale available to you, a second card that you could have after that could end up being the difference between losing and winning. It's not easy to get past these guys because a Dark Hole's not going to do anything, because these are little mini Dracosacs. They can't die by, like I mentioned, battle, but it's actually battle or card effects. And he has a whole barrage of them at this point. This is insane. Like, these ships are, these helicopters and all this, they're good. I don't believe he has any rank 10s in his deck, so I think he's pretty committed to having the little guys out there at this point.
Man, he looks like he's just about ready to hit him in the head one more time.
Oh, actually, he does have a rank 10, and we could see it in just a moment if this doesn't kill him. Actually, a really good one to have right now, too. He actually has the Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max.
He has Gustav.
Yeah, he does.
Wow.
That, and being a rank 10, his opponent's about to be under 2 grand. Yep, at 500, no more attacks left, but Gustav could be the star of this match. Are we going to see him? We're in main phase 2, and he's taking his time. I feel it coming. The Savage is coming. That is only rank 10. Gustav Max seals the deal.
And the rail cannon calls for a forfeit. Round 2.
We're going to see some sideboarding here. I definitely think that Mecha Beasts have an upper hand right here when it comes to the sideboard. I really think that we're going to see the Wind Statue come in and Mystical Space Typhoons, because, I mean, you always got to bring in your Spell and Trap Hate against the Pendulum deck. The Wind Statues, though, actually kill both strategies that we're seeing on the other end of the board pretty badly, because the Wind Statue makes it where neither player can special summon monsters except for Wind-type monsters. And we're seeing Metalfoes being Fire and Ancient Gears being Earth. It could definitely be a very big blowout we're about to see here. But again, both these players are 3-0 going into this round, so they both have earned their way to this place. So I'm definitely interested to see what we see from the sideboard on the Ancient Gears, because his sideboard he could bring in the Jinzos and it could be an almost entire blowout. But I don't know if he's going to, because he didn't see a whole lot of traps at a time there.
Yeah, that was pretty much a one-sided match, so I don't think he would pull in the Jinzos or MSTs, or at least know to.
Yeah, and the traps, like, he was only seeing 1 or 2 at a time, and not a whole lot quickly. But in reality, he's going against a deck that runs 16 traps. He runs less spells and less monsters than he does traps. Both of the others he's running only 12 of. So he wants to see his traps. But we do see a completed scale here. And looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit more Metalfoe heavy this game. Which sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And if you only get a grip full of Metalfoes, then you got a grip full of Metalfoes. But if he has a lot more, oh, he doesn't seem excited. Looks like he misplayed. I think he meant to Pendulum Summon there. Because it definitely does not make sense. Definitely does not make sense to pop the 2 unless he had a scale 1 in his hand. And even then, actually, yeah, he must have meant to pop his 3. Because he had 2 1s there, I think. Yeah. Actually, no, that is a scale 8. So he did have the pendulum scale completed. we got some interesting talk going on in the bottom, so we do see Tetherwolf hitting the table again.
And that baby girl looks like she's about to get a spanking.
And this time it looks like we're seeing a cut. Oh no, we're only seeing 2 traps again. He keeps seeming to be pulling grips of monsters in these games, so not what he wants to see, but he can't complain too much. I do like to see this. I don't like to pick favorites, but I will say this. On the Mega Venom Beast, his list is one of the more pure lists that I've seen successfully going in this tournament so far. And the fact that he made it so pure, I think in his monster lineup, he only has 1 non-Mecha Phantom Beast card. And I enjoy seeing this deck successfully run. Oh. Oh, that Wind Art actually can target any card, so he's actually going to be putting one of those guys on top, so he won't get the pop here. Ooh, Instant Fusion. We're gonna see a Norden play here. Now the one little bit of spice that he still has going for him that his opponent doesn't know. Oh, we have to see Panzer Dragon, so he's going to pop a card. Okay. But still, the one spice that we haven't seen yet from the ancient gear is that he's actually running totally awesome.
He really is?
He is.
Well, that is awesome.
Oh, he did bring in the Jinzo. That is great. He did see enough traps to warrant him thinking Jinzo would be good, and that is going to pay off. And the one thing is, Mecha Phantom Beasts do have certain cards that have an easier time getting over him than a lot of other strategies would in this case. But he's already down a token because he used his trap card. Oh, but he has Book of Eclipse. So that's going to flip all of all the monsters face down, but at the end phase, Jinzo's going to get flipped right back up, and he's going to get to draw a card. So it saved the monster. He's weaker defense, so the 17 is going to come over him. And if Ryan has one of those guys that can attack and make another token, or summon and make another token, just a token in general could be backbreaking in the situation we're in right now. It definitely seems that James had a very weak hand, and Ryan had, again, a hand that was prepared to do what he needed to do.
Looks like this baby girl's gonna need a bottle after this round.
It's definitely not looking too good. We have a Raigeki. He's just pushing for some extra damage now. But we have a counter. That is really good here. So again, he's going to be able to bring out another Metalfoe from his deck. The cool thing about counter here, unlike in the last game, is that not only did it shuffle the deck when he had a Metalfoe on top that he didn't want to draw again, but it also, on his turn, he's going to be able to remove it and get his scale back to his hand that he sent to his extra deck early game. So that counter was actually really good where we were. And Raigeki did not seem very good. Oh, but we have a aerial charge. So he's going to be able to actually special summon a token every turn off that. That is exactly what he needed to fuel his Mecha Phantom Beasts to make sure that they aren't dying.
So it wasn't necessarily the damage, he was just trying to get rid of the Jinzo.
Exactly. But I still feel like attacking over the Jinzo would have been a little bit more powerful, because now he's having to sack the token to actually get over the guy. He could have attacked the Jinzo, he'd bring out the guy, and then Raigeki the guy, and he'd still have the token.
Well, let's hope he brought in the MSTs as well.
Yeah, the only thing is, this aerial charge does have to tribute a Mecha Phantom Beast monster or send it to the graveyard during each player's end phase. So he has to sack a guy at the end of this turn, or it kills itself. Which I believe he's going to actually sack Olion, because I believe it has a graveyard effect. Which it does. So it can actually banish itself from the grave to bring a Mecha Phantom Beast from the hand. So that's actually pretty powerful, especially if he draws certain ones. But now he's going to be able to maintain the trap because he can play the token during the opponent's turn and during his own turn every turn. But here we go with counter. With an aerial charge in response. So we add the scale 8, so that does guarantee him a scale this turn. Now, what's definitely the biggest question right now is what that last back row is over on Ryan's side. If that's some kind, if it's some kind of solemn, that's gonna be crazy. If it's not, which it's not, that Jinzo's really good. So we saw both Jinzos this game. That is insane. Now he just needs to find a way to get rid of both tokens, which he did. Just keep saying what he needs to do, and he keeps having them. So killing both tokens means that he has to sack his last guy that can do anything. Because now he's gonna, which actually doesn't have second. Never mind. I'm sorry. It shouldn't at least. Yeah, that's an effect attribute. So yeah, he's not gonna have to tribute anyone. So since it's negated by Jinzo, it's not gonna do anything. But we see some popping going on. He doesn't want to take any damage. But if Ryan does see a Mecha Phantom Beast monster, or some way to generate a token again, he will be able to get over the Jinzo with no problem at all. Oh, nope. Apparently I was wrong. It is a... That is actually interesting. I don't know exactly the reasoning on why it went. I'm sure it was a maintenance cost or something to actually keep it up instead of an effect. That would be the only reason I could see it actually having to go to the grave there. Which, just like Kawaki Mairu's, they have a situation where if you have like skill drain on the field, you can't fulfill the maintenance cost, and they automatically just blow themselves up. So it looks like that could be the case here with Aerial Charge. So he did get a Mecha Phantom Beast. Does this one actually generate any tokens? Yeah, whenever a token is special summoned, so...
But will it be enough? Because it seems like he's running on gas. Running out of gas.
Yeah, it does look like it. But, yeah, it looks like he has to make his rank 4 to actually do this, which he does. So Castell will get over the Jinzo. And just as we mentioned before, the whole pendulum mechanic in this situation might actually be what grinds James into his victory. Because even without the Jinzo, he still has one pendulum monster left in his face-up extra deck, which means that one monster can protect him from the Castell the rest of this game. So he's alive as long as that one monster's alive. If he gets other things, then it's just going to be him leading to his win, because he has Metalfoes Fusion. So with another Metalfoe, he could actually set up, which he does have a combination set right here. Now the question is if he has any more targets left for it at this point. Which he does run full Metalfoes Fusion, so if unless he drew it or already has it set, he should be able to do the play that would win him this game. So we've already established that Ryan's back row is not a Solemn. There's full Metalfoes Fusion.
With 3,200, he's definitely fighting uphill at this point. Do you really think he has what it takes to pull it out?
Honestly, at this point, I think he's just about won this game. As long as he doesn't make a misplay, at this point, I think that it's his game to lose.
Really?
I absolutely think so. Unlike a lot of games, our situation here, life points don't really matter. Card advantage is golden. So, like, there was a point when we had Satellar Knights and stuff like that going around, and Gaga Cowboy was a big thing. That was the only format that I remember life points truly mattering, and you having to care about being at less 800 or less life. So in this format, we're back to being in a situation where Cowboy doesn't see any play. Now his opponent does have Gustav Max, so life points mattered in one game. So I think that really our situation here is as long as he's not at 2,000 or less, he's in a position where it's his game to lose at this point. And with having the Thrillium on the table, it's really hard for him to lose. Because now he's able to prevent that trap to be used, and what we've noticed so far is it's probably not the one that can respond. So it's probably some type of mirror force. And we have 10 goldfish. What do we have coming out with it? We have the first ancient gear we've seen this game. So it is tried and true. The cool thing is, just like all the other ancient gears, he is actually one that once he is he's a Gemini monster first of all, which is different from the rest. But the Gemini effect he gains is just like all the others, of making where his opponent can't mirror force him. So he is hitting for a lot of damage. I'm curious if he makes a rank 4 here or not. I don't believe he has many that are truly great right here. Maybe an Emerald. I'm not sure how many monsters he has in the grave at this point. But he's definitely in a commanding position. That Mithrilium is going to make it really tough for his opponent to get out of this. He can use that effect to bounce the back row back to his hand again. So unless he gets 2 back row, he has no chance. Which he has 2 now. So
let's see what he pulls.
I am interested to know why. Actually, no, yeah, he did do that. So we'll see what happens here. Because if he has the Quaking, this could definitely still be a game. If he doesn't, it's going to be tough. Which, that Pendulum Summon in defense, by the way, is actually a big deal. It doesn't look like as much as it could be, but if he normal summons the Ancient Gear Knight, he can hit for 1800 direct and not worry about Quaking. And then, when he attacks with one of his other 2 monsters, if Quaking actually gets activated, he can then chain his Metalfoes Fusion, which there he goes, normal summoning the Gear Knight. He can then chain the Metalfoes Fusion to fuse the Mithrilium with the Steelin to make another Mithrilium. That other Mithrilium would be in defense position and not get flipped face down. The Mithrilium he fused with would get its effect to bring out another guy. See, there's the Quaking right there. So,
does he trigger the fusion?
The only worry I'd have for James if he activates the... Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, that's fine, actually. Because he can do it after it resolves, still fuse, and then be able to attack with what he's getting. Which actually, I don't know what's in his grave. Nothing. So, he's not going to be able to kill his opponent this turn. But he's going to be able to hit for 2600 direct. Can this get from somewhere else? I forgot. No, it gets his 0-point guy back. So not a huge deal still, but it's back on the table again. But that is putting his opponent down to 400 life, as long as that's not another Quaking. Oh, it's Scapegoat! He gets his 4 goat tokens.
And the sacrificial lambs go down.
Joey Wheeler would be proud. So, we're going to have that prevented. Now, the only benefit he has is now his Mithrilium is going to be able to bounce something and put good things back in his deck again, including the full Metalfoes Fusion that he can search again this turn. So, depending on what he chooses to do here, he might actually be able to do 2 or 3 more effects before he even ends his turn. So it looks like he's going to bounce on the goats, which would just effectively get rid of it completely.
Bye-bye, Blue. You were my boy.
Well, let's see. Oh. Nope, he got rid of red.
Blue!
I think James might have a soft spot for blue. So he might let that one stay until it's the last one standing. I mean, how could you mess with that cute little face right there? It just looks so happy and peaceful.
Will Ferrell does do great things.
Definitely a little different than what I expected his line of play to be, but it's fine. It is still effective and still could be the game. Now, if he does a Metalfoes Fusion play, I believe believe he can actually get through. No, because his 2 level 4s aren't doing a whole lot for him. They're actually very useless here with the fusion spells. No, actually, he has the level 5 guy. The level 5 guy for the fusion could actually push through for an... Actually, does he run Orichalc? Oh, goodness, he does not run Orichalc. The funny thing about Orichalc here is that if he had it in his deck, it would actually be double piercing.
Ah!
But he does not run it, so he's going to have to try a little harder than that to actually get this game. Mistake doesn't seem like it does a whole lot here other than prevent combination from searching. It's the only card I think it stops in the deck. Mistake actually prevents all players from adding cards from deck to hand. Card that used to be very popular and almost staple in every deck. Even was at like $40 a piece at one point. Doesn't see any play these days anymore. But we see his recycling of all the Mithriliums going back into effect. The Gajiltron Dragon is in play. So at this point I believe all he has to do is bounce 1 token. And I hope he gets in there with the Gajiltron Dragon for game. That would be Xaxes with an Ancient Gear. And it looks like that will be the case here.
Blue is the only goat left.
I told you. Who can start with the blue? So we are going to a game 3, guys. This match is getting better and better. I do feel like there's going to be some more sideboarding because there are some cards that, not knowing the other strategy, could be a little bit more questionable. Then once you get done with game 2 and realize, oh, that mistake only really stops 1 card. It's not doing a whole lot.
Like an old clock radio, Ancient Gear came back at the very end. It's time for round 3, and we're about to see what happens.
Now, this will be very interesting to see for sure. It seems that James has a pretty decent understanding of what's going on. I'm not entirely sure what's going on the other end, sideboard wise, but it's going to be a lot better in this game 3, I'm sure. Yeah, I was very certain at first that Ryan had this game, but Ryan hasn't seen one of his most important cards in his deck yet. Maybe going first this time, he might, and it could be the entire game off activating that 1 card. Oh, he's one of his sideboard cards this time. That is huge. No monsters can be special except for wind monsters. Oh, again, with 2 back row, he is drawing so many monsters.
With an opening turn that powerful, it may just put a nice dent into his health before he's able to find an answer.
Very possible. The Gear Town that he's searching right now doesn't do anything anymore. Actually, no. I'm going to correct myself. It makes his level 5 Ancient Gear monster 0 tributes to summon it. So if he has that, that actually could be decent here. Because it could make his hand a little... Yep, there it is, just like I said. So, it's not going to get targeted. And when it attacks, it can activate things. And when it attacks, it gets destroys spell trap. So it's going to eat his back row. It's going to take his monster that is stopping him and just completely wreck him. Like, there was so much card advantage there. And now in main phase 2, if he wants, he can start playing his Metalfoes. Yep, his Metalfoes strategy right there. Wow. The engineer is coming in to fix the situation.
That was pretty good.
And we have a completed... Oh! Ryan is curious if he's allowed to poke him, and James comes in with a fresh no.
It's only polite to ask before you poke, ladies and gentlemen. Only polite.
Absolutely. And he did include a please afterwards. I don't think it's going to change James's mind here.
A little desperate, but you
Yeah.
know, it's not my choice.
But we can definitely say that James has done a very good job of not only making a strategy that is capable of winning, but also making a strategy that's capable of winning off the strategy he was assigned. The ancient gears have looked really good in this match overall. And he has two engineers on the table. What is he doing now? Is he looking for a rank 5 play? He is. He's looking for Cyber Dragon Nova into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Oh, this is so nice. This is so good. Like, he couldn't ask for anything better now. Who needs Galaxy Soldiers to make Infinity when you have the Engineer? He has put his opponent in a very tough situation. He only has one back row, though. That could be something that could stop in addition to Infinity. But Infinity's looking good. Now, I think with this Foolish Barrier, he's looking for that tuner, because it could allow him to look into two more summons. So one summon, his normal summon, and a special summon from his hand. Which, if that's the case, he could bait the Infinity at some point. I don't believe it's here, though. Probably going to take him a second to decide on this, because I'm sure he's reading the card. No? Oh, it actually has another effect that I did not notice earlier. So when it goes to the graveyard, it actually makes a token. So that is actually really good. Because now if he normal summons a Mecha Phantom Beast, the Infinity might negate it, but it won't destroy it. So if he can manage to make 2 tokens here, in some way, it could be good enough to get over the Infinity. If not, though, James is going to come back and have a really easy time making another Metalfoe come to the table that can get over all the tokens. So we have the Mecha Phantom Beast that when it attacks, it makes things. Oh, it looks like he's going to try to bait out the Infinity here, which I'm sure he will. Because we have a Book of Moon-like effect trying to hit. He has no tokens in play. There is no reason for that Infinity not to activate here. Oh, it just switches to defense. I did not read that entirely. Yeah, it just changes it to face-up defense. Never mind, there's plenty of reason not to activate it there. I was entirely wrong, that is fine. Interesting. Does he have a limiter removal? That would be funny. Or is he just trying to generate a token? But that doesn't seem like much value there. Because that would be pointless for him to have gotten rid of the previous token, of course. So definitely no limit removal. No? Yeah, maybe he just regrets switching the battle position, or he was trying to bait the negate. That didn't happen.
He's definitely not a master baiter.
Ha, ha, ha.
I'm 8 years old.
Somewhere in that area. But it definitely looks like we are going. He was definitely in a desperate attempt to get that Cyber Dragon Infinity to activate. And now with it not have activating, he only has one back row. Unless it's a Solemn, this game is looking really far in James' favor. Oh, we are definitely seeing the power of Metalfoes, but like without the ancient gears, there was no way he could have won this game that easily. For him to be in this position, it's actually really impressive. And we have another Gear Town coming to play. We are going to see Gajiltron Dragon this time. It's very possible that he could be trying to push for some type of OTK depending on what he has in hand too. He might be able to push for enough damage.
Your scan has been completed.
So all he needs is another... Let's see here, 59... You know, he needs 1,200 more points to actually end the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for whatever that background scan was. Hopefully we'll get that solved.
Oh, yep, that is actually plenty of damage to actually end the game. Because he's going to be able to bounce this last token and get in there for over 8,000 damage actually, 8,500.
Go Will, what?
And he's going to show off some more plays real quick. Just to be sure, I guess.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to watch every card in this deck because there are still more rounds in this tournament.
And there is still, and we haven't seen everything that his deck is able to do. Like there are so many more things, and we're seeing Infinity, and we see other plays that he's making. He's showing us that there's a lot of boss monsters that Ancient Gear Metalfoes are capable of making. We see lightning, so he can have an additional monster that can be getting through. Whew! Massive amounts of damage. We're seeing 13,400 on the board right now. He almost has enough to kill his opponent twice.
Now, Tyler, do you believe he was holding back this entire time, or...?
I don't know. I think that the cards he was dealt were giving him what he had in this game. Just they finally dealt him what he needed. I think the first two games were a little slower, a little weaker, but I mean he got what he needed to win the match overall. Oh, we see a token stampede. All his nothing gains 1,000 attack, and that was a fantastic match, just as exciting as I expected it to be.
Baba Black Sheep.
Oh, he's not there. I mean, he's already gone.
Well, Tyler, I have to say this definitely was a match for the books, and I'm really proud of it. How about you?
Absolutely proud.
Now, this is Daniel Howell and Tyler Ashlock with Grey Castle Games. Please like, comment, and subscribe below. Thank you.